WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. You have to wear your mask. That's the statewide mandate issued this afternoon by Governor Tate Reeves. It's effective immediately. And top health administrator Dr. Thomas Dobbs also issues a public health order for anyone testing positive to stay home, with fines or even arrests for those who don't. Governor Reeves is delaying the start of school for some in the state. Both he and Dr. Dobbs are urging Mississippians to not socialize for the next 2 weeks. WCBI's Scott Martin joins us now in the studio with a breakdown of the governor's briefing today. Scott?
Yeah, Joey, a lot was said, a lot to break down here tonight. 8 counties in Mississippi fall under those guidelines that the governor's new executive order to delay that start of school. The orders for 7th through 12th grades in the following counties. We're talking about Bolivar, Coahoma, Hinds, George, Forest, Panola, Sunflower, and Washington counties. Yes, none of those in the immediate WCBI viewing area, but the first day of school in those counties, that's delayed until August 17th for in-person learning. Governor Reeves also requiring masks to be worn in schools. Students, teachers, and staff, they'll be required to wear a mask unless you have some type of health issue. On top of that, as you mentioned, Joey, the governor also issued a statewide mask order for Mississippi. If you go to any gatherings or any public spaces, you will be required to wear a face mask. Governor Reeves says that the state's test positivity rate, it's too high. Now, the goal of the order, the governor says, is to help prevent a rampant spread of the virus and keep from an extension of school closures for Mississippi kids.
We've got to find a way to balance the risk, recognizing that there is going to be some spread of the virus, recognizing that the risk to those under the age of 60 from the coronavirus is much different than the risk of those over the age of 60, unless, of course, there is pre-existing conditions or comorbidities, and we're just going to have to deal with those on an individual by individual basis.
Also want to note that the governor stated that any school district that intends on starting in-person classes before the 17th, that it's in the best interest that you might want to go ahead and push back that in-person start date. Prior to today's statewide mask mandate, 37 counties were already under a mask order, and the governor says that the spread of the virus in those areas was slowing down. Now, as far as testing, they talked about that today and getting results back. Most private labs are at a 2 to 3 day turnaround, so the backlog starting to clear up a little bit there. We have the governor's order for you to read it in full on our website at WCBI.com.
So here are the number of positive cases for today. More than 1,000 Mississippians are added to the list of those infected with COVID-19. The Mississippi State Department of Health says there are 1,074 new cases in the state, along with 42 deaths. 1,164 people are hospitalized with confirmed or suspected coronavirus symptoms. 173 of those patients are on a ventilator. Locally, Lee County saw the most new cases with 35. Tishomingo is reporting 19, Pontotoc 15, and Monroe 14. Well, the role of school nurses will be vital this year as some students head back to the classroom during the pandemic. Normally, nurses treat injuries and illnesses. Now, they're dealing with COVID-19 symptoms. Our Stephanie Poole explains how they plan to handle any possible cases. She joins us now in the studio with more. Stephanie?
That's right, Joey. Checking for symptoms, isolating affected students, and monitoring classes are just a few obstacles they're facing. Now, with only a few weeks until the start of classes, nurses are preparing guidelines for teachers and students.
School nurses will be critical in the back-to-school planning period.
We've got scheduled to go across the county and talk to all our teachers, talk to them about signs and symptoms of the COVID, like when they need to send students.
Michelle Crowley is the head nurse for Lamar County School District. She, along with 4 other nurses, have developed a plan to ensure health and wellness on school grounds.
Once school gets started, we want to try to educate some of our kids on good hand washing, about wearing your mask, about staying 6 feet apart. So those are some of the preventive things that we're trying to work on.
But oftentimes, those tips are overlooked. If symptoms are displayed, she's asking teachers to send students based on high to low severity.
We're having to divide our rooms up and do isolation areas where we got a well side and then also a sick side. So if a child comes in with like 102 fever, we're going to put them on the sick side, let them stay in a screened, divided area where nobody knows who they are until a parent comes and picks them up.
It's suggested 6 students stay off campus until they're clear of symptoms.
As of right now, we've got the best possible plan out there. Is it bulletproof? No, it's not. None of them are. We don't know how many different scenarios to this thing that we could face once we get back into school. We know we're going to face some difficulty. We're doing that now.
Superintendent of Lamar County School District Vance Herron says this plan isn't concrete, but it's the safest way for students' return.
Everybody is a little apprehensive and everybody's so worried, and with good reason, but in the meantime, we're going to be okay, and we're going to make it through these trying times.
We've always done good about trying to make sure our kids are safe and trying to have a nurse in each school.
All faculty and staff members are having mandatory COVID-19 training leading up to the start of school.
Meeting, shaking hands, and looking your future employer in the eye may be a thing of the past. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed everything, including applying for a job. Social distancing was on full display at Express Employment Professionals during its drive-through job fair in Starkville today. In the past, job fairs offered a chance for applicants to interact with future employers in person, increasing their odds of getting a job. Now they'll have to rely on their resume to get a call back.
I have a lot of experience, and I just hope that they can use my experience and go from there and get the work that I'm looking for.
Hey, it works fine for me. Give my application, bring a resume. They'll give you a call if you meet the criteria. So just let it be that.
No, you don't have to attend the drive-through job fair to get help. There's more information on our website, WCBI.com.
Let's go ahead and check out our Alpha Insurance Camera Network and see what's going on out there on our Tuesday afternoon. Not too bad weather-wise in most spots. We got mid-80s here in Columbus, Louisville, Vernon, and Tupelo. However, we do have some downpours, especially southeast of Starkville, western Clay County, and a few others falling apart here in Pickens County, but this is on the way out. It's looking pretty good once those showers do go away by 9 o'clock, mid-70s, mainly clear. We're going to have a bright moon shining tonight. Low 70s by 11, lows tonight down into the 60s. How about that? But a pretty warm day on tap for your Wednesday. Upper 80s expected. A mix of sun and clouds. I'm back with your full 7-day forecast in just a few more minutes.
Columbus police need your help finding a man missing for several days now. 39-year-old James Ryan Taylor was last seen July 14th. Police say he was driving a silver Ford Fiesta. Taylor was wearing a white T-shirt and jeans. He's around 175 pounds and has brown hair and blue eyes. The car he was last seen driving has the tag number LTE 7723. If you have any information, call Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers. A Winston County teenager remains in the hospital tonight after allegedly being shot by his uncle. 17-year-old D. Welch is in the critical care unit at the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson. Welch plays football at Nanawoya High School. Our Quentin Smith speaks with coaches and players about how they're coping. Quentin, how's everybody holding up?
Well, Joey, as you can imagine, they're devastated. The football team is a brotherhood, and now they're trying to stay strong for Welch, hoping he'll soon be able to join them again on the football field. When the Nanawoya Warriors hit the practice field this morning, to the naked eye, everything appeared to be normal, but it wasn't. That's because they were without their sophomore linebacker, D. Welch.
I know he'd do anything he could to be down here with us right now.
The teenager was shot multiple times and is now hospitalized, fighting for his life.
They're heavy-hearted, obviously, as we all are, but we're just praying that D gets healed quickly and he'll get back to us.
The alleged gunman is the teen's uncle, 38-year-old Frederick Nunn. The Kemper County Sheriff's Department says the two had a feud prior to the gunshots, and at this time, investigators aren't sure what that feud was about.
We were shocked. I mean, heartbroken that something like this could happen to a kid that's so young and undeserving.
I was sad. I was upset. I was camping. I couldn't even enjoy it. I was so sad. It's one of my best friends.
Coaches and teammates described Welch as a spark plug, someone who was always full of energy.
He'd always make you laugh, even whenever it sucks. It's 90 degrees, you're hot as can be. He don't get tired, just running around, has so much energy.
He never had bad days. He always worked hard, and he was never down.
He played really hard, played the way you want kids to play, and he did it with a smile on his face.
The team ended practice by taking a knee, putting their arms around one another, and praying for a successful recovery for Welch. The football team prides itself on being a family. The family is now leaning on one another to stay strong for themselves and their brother.
Dee's a good kid, and God's not done with him yet. He's got a plan for Dee's life, obviously, since he spared him through such tragedy. So we're just ready to see him, put our arms around him, and welcome him back.
Nunn has been charged with aggravated assault, and he's currently behind bars on a $75,000 bond.
2 terms is plenty. Jason Shelton talks about Tupelo family and walking away from city government. It's ahead on WCBI News at 6.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6 with Joey Barnes.
Welcome back, everyone. Tupelo Mayor Jason Shelton will not seek a 3rd term. The announcement caught many voters by surprise over the weekend. WCBI's Allie Martin has more on the decision and what the mayor wants to accomplish over the next 11 months.
Mayor Jason Shelton says he has spent the past 6 months trying to decide whether or not to seek a 3rd term. He has decided not to run again.
The time is right for me to go back to practicing law, to take care of my family, provide for my family.
When he was elected in 2013, Shelton was the first Democrat-elected mayor of the All-America City in nearly 3 decades. He easily won a 2nd term in 2017. Now Shelton says changes in his personal life will require more of his attention. The mayor also says he will continue speaking out about the upcoming presidential election.
I'm 44. I've got a baby on the way. I'm still dealing with, my father's estate. There's a lot of real estate, so I need to get that situation taken care of. So, those things combined, coupled with the fact that I do want to be vocal in this year's presidential election. It's something that I feel very strongly about. I'm campaigning for Joe Biden. I know that's not the pathway for political expediency in the state of Mississippi.
Shelton believes he's learned a lot during the past 7 years, especially during trying times. The shooting death of Sergeant Gil Stauffer in December 2013 and the April 2014 tornado are key events during his time in office. As for the next 11 months, Shelton says he and his team will work to continue the economic upswing that was in place before the COVID-19 pandemic.
The commercial and residential construction boom that we're experiencing in Tupelo, those additional ad valorem or property taxes is going to offset the loss of sales tax revenue for the immediate future.
The 2-term mayor and his team are working on the 2021 budget, which will not include a tax increase, but will have a small surplus. In Tupelo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
The qualifying period for a Tupelo municipal election starts in January. The election takes place in June of 2021. All right, Keith, a few showers out there here in the Golden Triangle this afternoon.
A few downpours are on the way out, setting up a pretty nice stretch here for this evening and for the next couple of days here as we look ahead. Don't get used to it. We will have the humidity coming on back and some spotty storms by the weekend. The dog days are coming back, but right now, the next couple of days and nights, not too shabby. Your full forecast next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Let's find that backyard pool. My neighbors have one. I should just hop the fence one of these days and just go on over there. I probably shouldn't say that on TV. Keep that a secret here. Anyway, that looks pretty nice here on our Wednesday, a mix of sunny clouds. Now, there's an opportunity for a rogue shower tomorrow, but we really don't expect too many spots to see it, unlike today. Mid to upper 80s here, winds from the north, not too bad. The year relatively dry. So a warm summer day for us, but it could be a lot worse, and it will get a lot worse as far as temperature and humidity as we approach the weekend. Our time lapse from Tupelo today, looking to the east, we had some showers earlier, and then those showers went away. Check out these low clouds coming on in right there. That's a sign of a northerly breeze, some slightly drier air coming on in right now. Louisville, Mississippi, currently 88 degrees. You had some rain in Winston County earlier. Temperatures range from the low 80s to the mid to upper 80s, some spots in the 70s with some recent showers. But in general, we are in the 80s right now. It's going to be a great evening. Vernon, 84 degrees as well, with a mix of sun and clouds here. That at Durham's Pharmacy. Just a few blips on radar, but some of these showers south of Starkville still pretty heavy, some pretty isolated downpours down there. And one just falling apart in western Clay County. That's all we have right now. There's a big area of high pressure up here across Iowa, and that will give its influence down here for the next few days. So rain chances getting low, the air relatively dry. Case in point, tonight, mid-60s for lows. We'll have a bright moon shining for a good chunk of the night. Tomorrow, we start out around 70 degrees. Let's call it 69 at 7 by noon, 85, 88 at 4. Again, maybe a stray shower. Northerly breezes, pretty nice. Low 80s going into tomorrow evening. It's looking pretty good for our Wednesday. We mentioned high pressure. It's a distance away from us, but it will still influence our weather for the next few days. So most of the rain to our east, south, and west as we go throughout the rest of this work week. Now, by the weekend, we have more southerly flow develop. Deep tropical moisture will start to come on back. And for the weekend and next week, it will be juicy. It will be just muggy with temperatures in the mid-90s. The heat index probably getting over 100 degrees again. So let's just savor the warm and relatively dry air through Friday. Now, we will start to warm up. Low 90s Thursday, mid-90s Friday. But for the next couple of nights, including tonight, we're looking at lows in the 60s. Those go into the 70s for lows as weekend. Highs remain in the 90s. Spotty storms are possible starting Saturday, continuing into next week. Stay tuned. Sports is coming up next.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
We continue the high school football tour by taking a look at the North Pontotoc Vikings. Head coach Andy Crotwell brings back an experienced team that has its sights set on making a playoff push once again. The Vikings are stop number 44 on the high school football tour.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
Coming off a 7-5 record in 2019, North Pontotoc locked in its 7th straight winning season. However, that isn't enough for the Vikings. Last year, they relied heavily on its defense. This season, expect the team to have a new identity and approach on offense as they look to turn their game up a notch.
We got a bit more new stuff we're going to run this year, you know. We're pretty confident about that, and defense is pretty stout this year.
This year we feel a lot more comfortable with where we are offensively. Of course, the offensive line is back intact. Got some experience at quarterback. 2 leading rushers are back. Got some experience at receiver. Got some new guys there in the mix as well. So I feel like we'll be a lot more of an attacking style on offense, and be able to be more aggressive. Still feel pretty good about the defense.
I think we'll have, a lot more experience, a lot more. We've done this before, and we should feel a little more comfortable in the offense this year.
A strength for the Vikings offense will be the O-line. They return 4 starters who all know the system.
It helps because we've got some guys that have been there and done it, and know what to expect and know what we're looking for and feel real comfortable with what we're doing. You always want offensive linemen that are bored whenever you go over rules because they know it by heart, and so that's a good feeling.
We know what to do. We've been here before, and we try to be the leaders of the team and just kind of show everybody, the younger guys what to do and how to do it and how we expect to play on Friday.
Experience brings about confidence, something the Vikings have as they enter the season.
I think we're really young last year, and it's just, progression. We've all played a lot more minutes than last year, and, I just think we'll be more experienced, ready for it.
Having more self-confidence about each other, ourselves and stuff like that, last season, I had a pretty tough year. So some players, not confident about each other, but we were pretty good this year about ourselves.
That experience has created a culture where the players come into workouts full of energy, ready to work in hopes of proving themselves on Friday nights.
I don't know that there's a day where I felt like our energy was poor this summer, so I'm excited to see them in fall camp.
A bunch of us back, we've all played together a long time, and we just come out here and have fun and play as hard as we can. And, try to do the best we can.
North Pontotoc starts the season on the road against Bruce September 4th. With the Vikings in the high school football tour, Chris Bolton, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with North Pontotoc High School is brought to you by Access School Health Services and First Choice Bank.
Take a look at some of the upcoming stops. After today, we continue on with more of the Pontotoc schools. On Wednesday, we check in with stop number 45, Pontotoc, and that means there's only 15 stops left to go after that. Stop number 46 checks in with South Pontotoc on Thursday, and more schools will continue on after that. That's it for sports. More for you when we come back. We continue the high school football tour with a look at the North Pontotoc Vikings. Head coach Andy Crotwell brings back an experienced team that has its sights set on making a playoff push once again. The Vikings are stop number 44 on the high school football tour.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
Coming off a 7-5 record in 2019, North Pontotoc locked in its 7th straight winning season. However, that isn't enough for the Vikings. Last year, they relied heavily on its defense. This season, expect the team to have a new identity and approach on offense as they look to turn their game up a notch.
We got a bit more new stuff we're going to run this year, you know. We're pretty confident about that, and defense is pretty stout this year.
This year we feel a lot more comfortable with where we are offensively. Of course, the offensive line is back intact. Got some experience at quarterback. Two leading rushers are back. Got some experience at receiver. Got some new guys there in the mix as well. So I feel like we'll be a lot more of an attacking style on offense, and it'll be more aggressive. Still feel pretty good about the defense.
I think we'll have, a lot more experience, a lot more, we've done this before, and we should feel a little more comfortable in the offense this year.
A strength for the Vikings offense will be the O-line. They return 4 starters who all know the system.
It helps because we've got some guys that have been there and done it and know what to expect and know what we're looking for and feel real comfortable with what we're doing. You always want offensive linemen that are bored whenever you go over rules because they know it by heart, and so that's a good feeling.
We know what to do. We've been here before, and we try to be the leaders of the team and just kind of show everybody, the younger guys what to do and how to do it and how we expect to play on Friday.
Experience brings about confidence, something the Vikings have as they enter the season.
I think we're really young last year, and it's just, progression. We've all played a lot more minutes than last year, and, I just think we'll be more experienced, ready for it.
Having more self-confidence about each other, ourselves and stuff like that, last season, I had a pretty tough year. So some players, not confident about each other, but we were pretty good this year about ourselves.
That experience has created a culture where the players come into workouts full of energy, ready to work in hopes of proving themselves on Friday nights.
I don't know that there's a day where I felt like our energy was poor this summer, so I'm excited to see them in fall camp.
A bunch of us back, we've all played together a long time, and we just come out here and have fun, play as hard as we can, and, try to do the best we can.
North Pontotoc starts the season on the road against Bruce September 4th. With the Vikings in the high school football tour, Chris Bolton, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with North Pontotoc High School is brought to you by Access School Health Services and First Choice Bank.
That's it for sports. More for you when we come back.